The desert sun beat down on the dusty main street of Rust Creek, a forgotten town on the edge of the Wild West. The clinking of spurs echoed against weathered wooden sidewalks, and saloon doors creaked with every gust of wind. It was the kind of place where folks kept their heads down, where secrets rode in on the breeze and left on horseback. Marshal Jed Cooper had seen his fair share of strange things in his 20 years of patrolling the Badlands, but nothing prepared him for what he saw that hot July afternoon. A wagon rolled into town, a rickety thing pulled by 2 tired mules. Sitting in the back, chained at the ankles and wrists, was a girl no older than 17. Her hair was wild, matted with dust and grime, and her face was streaked with sweat. She didn't cry, didn't scream. Just sat there with a vacant look in her eyes, like her soul had wandered off without her. "Fresh cargo," the driver hollered as he pulled up in front of the town square. "Outlaws raided my farm and left me with nothin' but this strange little witch. I figured someone might want to make use of her before I hand her over to the sheriff. She's no good for labor, barely talks, but maybe she'll fetch a price from someone with different interests." People gathered, curious and cautious. Most townsfolk whispered and pointed. A few snickered. One old man spat on the ground in disgust. But Jed froze in place, his eyes locked on the girl's left arm. There, just above her wrist, barely visible under the dirt and dried blood, was a tattoo. A small, hand-inked symbol, 3 interlocking circles surrounded by flames. Jed's chest tightened. That tattoo. It wasn't just familiar, it had once saved his life. He hadn't seen it in over a decade, but the memory crashed over him like a tidal wave. 15 years ago, Jed had been ambushed by a gang of bandits while transporting prisoners across the Arizona plains. Bleeding and left for dead, he was found by a traveling healer. An old woman cloaked in rags who spoke little English and smelled of sage. She nursed him back from the brink of death over 3 days. Before disappearing into the desert mist, she placed her weathered hand on his shoulder and said, "One day, the fire will come back to you." That same symbol, the 3 circles of fate and flame, had been tattooed on her forearm. Jed's voice cracked as he stepped forward. "Stop. I'll buy her." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The driver laughed. "Buy her?" Thought the marshal was a man of law, not lust. "I'm not buying her for that," Jed growled, eyes still on the girl. "How much?" The driver raised a brow, unsure whether to take the offer seriously. $50. Jed pulled a leather pouch from his belt and tossed it into the dirt. "Take it. Unchain her." The girl's eyes flickered, just a moment of recognition, or was it fear? The man took the gold, muttered something under his breath, and unfastened her chains. She stumbled forward, weak from the ride, but Jed caught her before she fell. "It's okay," he whispered, brushing hair from her face. "You're safe now." He took her to his small cabin just outside town. The place was simple, 2 rooms, a fireplace, and shelves lined with books and maps. He laid her gently on the bed and fetched water and a clean cloth. She didn't speak for hours. Just sat there, arms wrapped around her knees, eyes darting from wall to window to ceiling, like she was waiting for someone, or something, to hurt her again. Jed didn't press. He just left a plate of bread and stew on the table, stepped outside, and let the silence do its work. By the 3rd day, she finally spoke. "My name is Tala," she whispered, her voice hoarse. Jed smiled softly. "I'm Jed. You remember me?" She shook her head. "No. But I know your face. My grandmother spoke of you. Said you were the one the fire chose." "The fire?" She reached for her wrist and rubbed the tattoo. "The fire of the old blood. My grandmother said it marks the ones who carry healing in pain. It can save or destroy, depending on who holds it." Jed sat beside her, the memory of that desert campfire and the old healer's eyes burning bright in his mind. "She saved me." "She saved many," Tala said. But not herself. The rancher who bought me, he killed her. Burned her alive. Called her a witch. A heavy silence settled between them. Jed's jaw tightened. I'm sorry. She told me to find the man with the fire eyes, Tala said, looking up. Said he would protect me. Said he owed her a debt. Jed's throat tightened. She was right. Over the next few weeks, Tala healed. Slowly. Her body bore bruises and scars, but her spirit began to flicker back to life. She helped in the garden, read Jed's books, and even started to hum soft songs in the mornings. But word traveled fast in Rust Creek. People talked. They whispered about the Marshal keeping a strange girl in his cabin. Some called her cursed. Others claimed she was a witch like her grandmother. And when a fever swept through town, taking 2 children in one night, the gossip turned to fear. One evening, as Jed returned from patrol, he found a mob forming outside his cabin. Torches. Guns. Fear in their eyes and venom on their tongues. Bring her out, Marshal, someone yelled. We know she's behind this. Jed stood firm. You're blaming a child for a sickness. She cursed us. My boy had the fever the moment she passed by our store. She's a witch. She ain't natural. Jed raised his rifle but didn't aim it. If any one of you takes another step, I will not hesitate. Tala stepped outside then, barefoot, her hands raised. I'll go, she said softly. Jed turned, horrified. No. Tala. They won't stop. I won't let anyone else die because of me. The sheriff stepped forward. We'll take her to the church. Let the preacher decide. Jed stared at them all. Neighbors. Friends. Men he'd saved from outlaws. Women whose children he'd delivered in the night. Not one of you deserves her mercy, he said coldly. But Tala was already walking toward the mob. Suddenly, a scream rang out from the back of the crowd. A woman came running, holding a limp child in her arms. My baby. He's burning up. Please, someone help. The crowd parted, frozen. Tala turned to the mother. Give him to me. No, the woman gasped. You'll curse him worse. But Jed stepped forward. Trust her. With trembling hands, the mother handed the boy to Tala. The child was burning with fever, barely breathing. Tala knelt, placed her hand over his chest, and closed her eyes. She began to chant softly in a language no one recognized. The flames from the torches flickered, bending toward her, as if pulled by some invisible force. Then, the fever broke. The boy's breathing steadied. His cheeks flushed pink. He opened his eyes and coughed, reaching for his mother. The crowd gasped. The mother fell to her knees, sobbing. She saved him. No one spoke. No one moved. Jed stepped beside Tala and helped her to her feet. She carries the fire. Not to destroy, but to heal. From that day on, everything changed. Tala became part of Rust Creek. She was no longer the strange girl, she was the healer, the miracle worker, the light that returned to a town once darkened by fear. She opened a small clinic with Jed's help, treating the sick and wounded, teaching children how to care for the land, and restoring old traditions long buried by ignorance. And Jed? He never let go of that debt he owed. But in time, it stopped feeling like a debt. It became something deeper, something sacred. Years passed. Rust Creek thrived. And every so often, a traveler would ride in, sick or broken or desperate. And before Jed could greet them, Tala would be at their side, her hand on their chest, whispering ancient words that danced with fire. And every time she healed someone, Jed remembered that day. The day he saw the fire again. The day he shouted, "Stop! I'll buy her." The day a strange girl with a tattoo reminded him that even in the Wild West, the power of kindness could burn brighter than fear.